Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is the 29th of September. Our sun sign is in Libra. Our moon sign is in Sagittarius. Libra, the sun sign, the conscious mind. Air sign. Air signs are about words and actions. Air moves around. Therefore, the ideas that are going around in our head, things are moving, there's activity, there's action. Libra also represents karma, so this is a time when there's this karmic balance taking place where we're balancing out the things that we've done in the past, with the things we're doing, the words we've spoken, and how they affect us. So a lot of that going on. And today with the Sagittarian moon, that's a good thing because the Sagittarian is the truth seeker, brings truth to the surface. It's a fire sign. So you have this fire underneath, which is bringing this truth to the situation to help the unconscious mind realize what's going on, so that the Libra mind, the conscious mind, which might not fully understand, gets a little bit more of that insight of truth that's coming from the unconscious. Now, if we go along, we look at our various aspects today that are coming up. We have aspects this evening. 3 different aspects between the moon sign. The moon sign, and the first one is with Chiron, second one is Uranus, the last one is with Jupiter. And Chiron, we have the wounded healer, and that's a square, it's a lesson. So Sagittarius, the truth seeker, is going to be meeting with Chiron. There's a lesson, a square. And then later Sagittarius is going to be in a trine with Uranus, with unexpected changes. The card in the tarot that would relate to Uranus would be the Fool. So Sagittarius is going to meet up with the Fool. They're going to have a nice positive exchange. And then you have Jupiter, a little bit later, 1029, expands out the ideas of truthfulness of the Sagittarian. Jupiter and Sagittarius both work together. The planets in the sign are very in synchronicity with each other, and therefore it's a good expansion. We're expanding that truthfulness. Alright, and that's all positive, very good stuff, because as we expand the truthfulness, as we deal with the unexpected changes that come about, and I would say these unexpected changes that come about are all due to the fact that we take a look at the part inside of us that is wounded to find a way to heal it. So as we do that, then these changes right here seem to then be available to us. And once we make the changes, something unexpected comes out of this healing, and then we expand even more. So that's how I see it. Alright, moving from there, the numerology for today is the number 9. Number 9, as we know, is associated with the Virgo and the Hermit. Here's how the number 9 is gotten to. 9 plus 2 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. Add them all together. It adds up to 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. That's our number for today. The number 9, the Hierophant, is right here. Our sun sign, Libra, right here. And our moon sign, Sagittarius. So look, we have a nice, good balance right there, almost like a triangle. And all three of them with their middle point here in the heart, beauty. Alright, so let's today look at this one here. We haven't looked at this one in a while. The Sagittarian, otherwise known as the card of Temperance. There we go. Let's look at all the colors and everything associated with the card first. Okay. The yellow in there, remember, is intellect. You got the fire colors, purity of the whiteness. So all of these now, we've come to understand the significance of all of these colors. So when we see them, we learn a little bit more from the meaning of the card then. The key is attributed the intelligence of probation or trial. This refers to the testing through which every aspirant must pass before he can reach the heights of initiation. Its object is to determine his temper or strength. Thus you see that temperance refers to the act of tempering, or the making of a properly balanced mixture. It has a distinct reference to equilibration, for the initiate must be properly balanced with reference to all of his vehicles. He no longer goes to extremes, but his master is the pair of opposites, because he inevitably chooses the middle path between two extremes of action. The rainbow represents the differentiation of light into color by means of water. The angel is androgynous and represents the higher self. He wears the symbol of solar energy upon his brow. The seven-pointed star upon his breast represents the works of man, because the seven-sided figure cannot be drawn geometrically but requires the aid of measuring tools. The fire from the torch falls upon the eagle, symbol of water, and the water from the vase falls upon the lion, the symbol of fire. Thus we see a representation of the union of opposites in opposite directions. The mountain twin peaks are wisdom and understanding, and the crown above them represents the primal will. Samek is the Hebrew letter associated with this. It means prop. It's a symbol for Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And key number 14. Okay, so that's the significance of this. And again, its position on the tree of life is right here. So it's a very important position, because underneath this you have the card of the tower. The tower is preconceived ideas. Preconceived ideas come when we allow our emotions or our intellect to get out of balance. And when they get out of balance, we get these preconceived ideas that come because our emotions tell us something's going to be something which it really isn't, or our mind tells us something is when it really isn't. And ultimately, the higher self looks at the situation and helps to balance it out, because the higher self here is not getting caught up in one way or the other, but is focused on being balanced. And then the balanced state understands a little bit of this is true, a little bit of this is true, and all together there's the truth. Alright, moving on from temperance to the moon phase today. It's 27% of the way full. We're making our way up, which means we're waxing up to the full moon. The sky tonight right here, we're going to see Mars. We have Antares. Okay. Tells us that thick waxing crescent moon now stands above Mars and Antares at dusk. So there we go. No other info than that. The Mayan Oracle. It's a 9-tone day, a 9 wizard guided by the dog. The wave spell and the theme is the World Bridger, which is about life force, life and death. The phrase for today is I pulse in order to enchant, realizing receptivity. I seal the output of timelessness with the solar tone of intention. I'm guided by the power of heart. Space weather solar wind is now at 360.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quiet. It was up into the 3s and 4s over the weekend. Corona hole has subsided quite a bit. but I'm guessing we're still going to be feeling something as it is subsiding, because we still do have a big chunk of it facing our direction. M-class flare possibility is up. It was 65%. Now we're up to 75. X-class is at 20%. Geomagnetic storm activity is up as well. 25 in the mid-latitudes, 35 in the higher latitudes. And over on the Jewish calendar today is 5 Tishri. Look to see what this is. The great Talmudic sage Rabbi Akiva was taken captive by the Romans on Tishri 5 in the year 3894. Okay, so let's go look at the daily thought. Daily thought, God Ra. If I wish to find all that is real and true at its very core, I would not find it in the ecstasy of the prayer of the devoted, nor of the epiphanies of the enlightened. I would not find it in the deeds of the righteous, nor in the love and kindness of those who live in harmony. There I would find a blinding light, an infinite light, but I would not find God himself. If I wish to find God as he is, at his essence, beyond all light and darkness, beyond the infinite and the boundless, I would come to the place of those who struggle daily to leave their muck and mire, those who labor and pierce the wall of their prison, so that even a glimmer of light could break through, and even as they fail, try again and again. For this struggle, all light was created. To the aid of the struggle, God himself descends. When those walls are pierced, the Creator exclaims, "It was worth it. All this creation, it was worth it for this alone." Very good thought. All right, and that brings us through the first starting point today, so understands the energy of what we're dealing with. Let's move on to the UFO news.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. First story goes back to April 15th. However, it was just recently reported. This is very unusual orb. I'll only say this. I have a friend who works with NASA, and he told me he was about seeing the glowing blue-green wheel ship that can reach 1 to 3% of the speed of light. The trip to the moon is 2 minutes. I just captured this in my iPhone 5 not long ago and thought it is to upload it. Too fast for a helicopter and airplane. No editing has gone into this video, and it really wasn't windy, so you can see it's not military. It's also too fast for a helicopter. It was about 7:25 p.m. when I took the video, and that's about it. Alright, 18-second video. Pretty fast though, the way the object moves. There it is. Okay. Next, we're going to go up to the moon. This was a structure apparently on the surface of the moon. Scott C. Waring. I was looking over some moon photos and found this one that had several buildings in it. The building stands out greatly from the rest of the natural environment. The shape of these buildings is nothing like what we would expect. There seems a chaos in the design, but it was made with purpose. It really shows how differently aliens and humans think. Okay. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Whatever that might be. Okay, here we go. Report UFO sighting 172. Compilation of sightings, which starts off in Calgary, Canada, 26th. I live in Calgary, AB, Canada. I saw what I believe to be a UFO on September 26th around 7 p.m. It was a giant metal object that had a large top half that appeared to be slightly scooped out and spinning very slowly around, showing its metallic appearance. It was silver gray and moved very slowly across the sky. There was no sound as it moved, and in its center there appeared to be a blue ball on top. It disappeared behind a cloud in the middle of the sky and was gone. Here we have on the 26th as well, Cambridge, Ontario. Saw a chevron-shaped very large object pass overhead about 8:30 p.m. tonight, moving south to north at a slow speed. It had 6 to 7 lights on each side and made no noise at all. Saw for about 30 seconds with 4 others, including people in the park. On the 23rd, Santa Clara, California, observed a bright satellite object in the direction of Sunnyvale. I watched this very slow drifting object for about 45 minutes. From about 8 p.m. to 8:40, the object appeared to drift through the clouds in the night sky, seemed to float or drift around the same area of my observation. Got one going back to Fairfield, California. Government jet flew over my house. I watched it from my driveway. Noticed a white round object off its right wing. And then Sacramento, I have a picture of what appears to be a black star just sitting on the sky. I didn't know it was there until the next day when I looked at my photos. To the naked eye, it was cloaked, and I can prove it by watching the news. And no one has reported seeing a black-looking star in the night sky, in the daylight. And I am not the only witness to this. My cousin and his son are outside with me. All right. Interesting. Here we have a sighting in Paris, France. New amazing footage of UFO sighting recorded in the daytime sky above Paris. Witnesses can be seen passing quickly in this video. A UFO can be seen displayed today, showing the company Air France strike probably hovering Paris today. Okay. So it passes quickly. We're looking for it. Doesn't say when it jumps in, but I'm guessing not right there. Let's see at the beginning here. There it is. Alright, maybe to the end here. That's where we're going to see it. There it is. Moves from this way to this way. From left to right. It's going to come in one more time. Nope. Left to right is where you see it. Right there. Okay. Moving on. Here we have a UFO over Shanghai Financial Center. Multiple people witnessed a stunning UFO over the financial district of Shanghai, China. This UFO appears to be similar to the one filmed in Houston 1 week ago. 58-second video. Yeah, look at that one. Very similar to the one that was seen in Houston. Interesting, interesting. Making themselves known. Alright, let's move on from there to a film about the sightings of Scarborough. Scarborough named UFO capital, boosting extraterrestrial tourism. Now the resort is claiming to cash in on close encounters of a different kind after being named the UFO capital of Britain. Tourism chiefs hope ET could do for the resort what the Loch Ness Monster has done for the Scottish holiday trade. The film company is making a documentary about the area following a spate of strange sightings over the North Sea. UFO watchers report seeing a flying saucer landing on a hill near Scarborough's former football ground before taking off again and disappearing into nearby woods. There are also claims of a ball of light that was involved in an aerial dogfight with a black triangle. A red light was also observed hovering over the sea before splitting into smaller fiery shapes. Flying saucers have landed. Conference is now a regular event in the tourist calendar, and traders are planning a giant fireworks display on the beach. John Sr., chairman of South Bay Travelers, said, "We are all in the idea of extraterrestrial tourism. We have been assured that our fireworks displays, called Strike Fire, will be visible from space. We hope there will be someone up there watching. We would welcome all life forms here in Scarborough, and they're very happy to accommodate UFO spotters and cater for their needs. There's no question that there is other life out there. Alright, more to the article, but there you go. Scarborough's calling actually for the life to come down, which is good. Invite them down. Place to stay. Nice warm bed to sleep in. Alright, NASA records a radio signal coming from Comet 67P for over 20 years. Okay. Says, I cannot disclose my name, my rank within the ESA, European Space Agency, or any other distinguishable information about myself could jeopardize my safety down the road. However, I've written this email, which I've sent to you along with certain illegally obtained photographs in question because of the fact that there are numerous things going on in the world right now, particularly within the realm of reconnaissance missions to explore space and the objects therein. And there are less being told and more to the point. Blatant cover-ups are being presented without consequences against the public. And in this case, with regard to the Rosetta spacecraft and its publicly touted mission to investigate Comet 67P Churyumov Gerasimenko. Do not think for one moment that a space agency would suddenly decide to spend billions of dollars to build and send a spacecraft on a 12-year journey simply to take close-up images of a randomly picked out comet floating through space. I hope that your viewers and connections and not your viewers themselves are not as naive as the government hopes that you are. There is always a reason for money like this to be spent on such a mission, and the reason, I can assure you, was not to take pictures of a rogue space rock. The images attached to the email are two of the originals captured by the Rosetta spacecraft on its approach to Comet 67P. By saying that they are original, I clarified this to mean that they are undoctored versions of the images already shown publicly or soon to be released publicly. These images depict the true nature of the mission and the real reason the space agencies across the world made it a priority to venture out to partake in this military reconnaissance mission of this object. Comet 67P is not a comet. Some 20 years ago, the NASA Space Agency began detecting bursts from an unknown origin out in space. It would late be known that these bursts had likely come from the direction of the now named Comet 67P. Once the technology progressed, it was confirmed that not only were these signals coming directly from the comet itself, but that the comet had seemed to change trajectory at all, which to any scientist is an obvious impossibility for any rock confined to the physics of space. It was at this time that the NASA Space Agency decided to plan out a mission to send military-backed reconnaissance mission to the object in hopes of discovering its true nature. Because of its nature and secrecy, the American Space Agency made a deal with European government insiders to publicly tout the mission as a search to simply get up close to one of the millions of comets flying through space. It was a perfect cover and allowed the governments to go about getting the mission off the ground without the needs to hide its launch. The images attached are undoctored. They depict the true workings of Comet 67P, which as it turns out is something completely different from a comet and is only being disguised as such. As for who is disguising it and why, I cannot answer. All I can tell you, whatever this thing is, it does show signs on its outside of machine-like parts and unnatural terrain. I trust you will do your best to pass these images on to the proper sources and ask you to simply have patience for my next reply. Whatever this object is, it did not ask to be found or scrutinized, and it appears for good reason. Alright, so, interesting 6-minute 54-second video right here, which gets into the video here. And here is the comet, and here is something that is on the comet that we showed you this. So something's going on here with this comet. That's why they're going to check it out. And let's see, this story I think it ties in right with that as well. Yeah, this is Astronomers from NASA using Chanda X-ray Observatory to explore the Perseus cluster, a swarm of galaxies approximately 250 million light-years from Earth, has observed the spectral line that appears to come from an unknown type of matter. The signal they receive cannot be explained by known physics, but they say it shifts suspicion to the dark matter. Perseus cluster is a collection of galaxies and one of the most massive known objects in the universe. Immersed in an enormous atmosphere of superheated plasma, it is approximately 768,000 light-years across. I wouldn't believe my eyes, says Ezra Bulbul of the Harvard Center for Astrophysics. What we found at first glance cannot be explained by known physics. The cluster is full of ions such as Fe25, Si14, and SXV. Each one produces a bumper line of the X-ray spectrum, which we can map using Chandra. Well, let's see here. Very interesting. So, signals coming from another area out here. So we have two different areas being explored. One where there's signals, and one where they're moving to because of the comet, which is not a comet, but being claimed to be a comet. Alright, last piece here today. 10 mysterious UFO incidents confirmed by radar. Whether you believe or not is a fact that UFO objects or anomalous aerial phenomena are seen and have been seen since ancient times in the Earth's atmosphere. When it comes to sightings of UFOs, pilots and other aviation professionals are partial to using less stigma-inducing words like balloon, unknown traffic, unidentified object, traffic, or unknown aircraft when they are interviewed after having seen something odd during the flight. The most mysterious and thought-provoking UFO sightings are those not only witnessed by several people, but also confirmed by radar. These accounts can never fully be explained, and they continue to be real for all the witnesses involved. Alright, here we go. So 1, Washington, D.C., 1952. This was the group of sightings that took place from the 12th to the 29th. A series of sightings took place over Washington. This is where they showed up on radar, and then when anything showed up, they disappeared. Here we have March 2004. A crew of the military surveillance plane busy with a routine anti-drug surveillance caught sight of 3 unidentified objects on the radar. Here we go. Sergeant Roland Hughes, Saucer, Sam, UK. In 52, Flight Sergeant Roland Heitz was returning to his base from a training mission in Germany when a gleaming silver metallic disc started following him. He later described the disc to be shiny, highly reflective, about the size of a Lancaster bomber. We have the Washington, D.C. jet chase in 2002. In an incident that is awash with conspiracy theories, NORAD and the Air National Guard picked up an unknown object that entered Washington's restricted flying zone on the 26th of July 2002. As the object tracked caused concern, F-16s were scrambled to intercept the object, but the pilots claimed that they saw nothing when they arrived on the scene. America West, Flight 564 sighting. In the evening of May 25, 1995, America West Flight 564 was flying at an altitude of 39,000 feet close to Bovina, Texas. While observing lightning outside the plane, the attendant noticed a peculiar set of flickering lights a little below the 757. The first officer was alerted to the phenomena. He immediately saw the lights, which he described as 8 bright blue strobes. At the end of the flight crew watched the flashing lights. They could discern the object as being cigar-shaped. The pilot estimated it to be 300 to 400 feet long. The Kiora lights in New Zealand. A series of sightings occurred in 1978 above the Kaikoura mountain ranges of New Zealand on the 21st of December. We have 1628 Japan Air flights. On the 17th of November 1986, the entire crew of a Japanese cargo plane noticed 2 unidentified objects to the left in the air above Alaska. They followed the cargo plane so closely that the crew at one stage even felt the warmth of the objects light on their faces. Stevensville, you've heard about this one. On January 8th, 2008, dozens of residents in Stevensville saw a massive object in the sky above their town. Some said it was big as a football field. Others said it was nearly a mile long. Belgian UFO wave. On the evening of the 30th and 31st of March 1990, the Control Reporting Center at Guyon's radar confirmed triangular objects in the sky above Belgium, having received unusual reports of unusual lights. Okay. Bentwaters, you know about this one. August 1956, radar at Bentwaters and Lankenheath Air Force Base picked up targets that displayed erratic behavior. Individual and groupings of objects moved across the skies. Some performed amazing acrobatic feats, displaying capabilities beyond that of any known craft. Alright, very good. So there's more to each one of these stories. I just kind of gave you the brief synopsis, just so you could be informed about what was going on. And there you have it. That's our UFO news for today. I will be back. We will continue with our study of Kabbalah. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on here. So, in the last couple weeks, we've been going over the Kabbalah Tree of Life. So, the first thing we want to do is we want to look at the pattern on the Trestleboard. Let's get right to it. All the power that ever was or will be is here now. I am a center of expression for the primal will to good which eternally creates and sustains the universe. Through me, its unfailing wisdom takes form in thought and word. Filled with understanding of its perfect law, I am guided moment by moment along the path of liberation. From the exhaustless riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. I recognize the manifestation of all the undeviating justice in all the circumstances of my life. In all things great and small, I see the beauty of divine expression. Living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. I look with confidence to the perfect realization of the eternal splendor of the limitless light. In thought and word and deed, I rest my life upon the sure foundation of eternal being. The kingdom of spirit is embodied in my flesh. Okay, these are the pattern on the pattern on the Trestleboard, truth about the self. Okay, all of these 10 points relate to each one of these, and again, the more you look at this, just relate, it really helps you to understand. And if you follow the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is the number like the lightning bolt that goes down. The pattern of how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 2. Alright. Now, from there, we're going to jump over to the mystical Kabbalah. Today, we're going to begin the next part, part 2. Starts off with some general considerations you just want to go through here. In part 1, we consider the general scheme of the method of using the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. We now come to the detailed study of the individual Sephirah. This study must necessarily be tentative. For life's research could be given to the significance of the correspondences that spread in endless ramifications from every symbol associated with each Sephirah. But a start must be made, hence these tentative jottings. For I do not consider the following chapters on the individual Sephirah worthy to be called anything better than this, even though they are the fruit of 10 years' meditation on the marvelous composite symbol. The table of correspondences at the head of each section consists of the selection of the principal symbols and the ideas associated with each Sephirah. and have no claim whatsoever to the comprehensiveness. They contain, however, the more significant symbols and are sufficient to make the student to gain a sound philosophical grasp of the subject and experiment for himself in the use of the tree as a meditation symbol. 3. The references are taken chiefly from 777 by Aleister Crowley, who got them from MacGregor Mathers, MS. Mathers, so far as I've been able to trace his references, for he gives no authorities, drew upon his work of Dr. Dee and Sir Edward Kelly, Cornelius Agrippa, Raymond Lully, and Pietro di Albano among the early writers. Among the moderns, the same material is found scattered throughout the works of Knorr van Rosenroth, Wynne Westcott, Eliphas Levi, Miss Atwood, Madame Blavatsky, and Anna Kingsford, Mabel Collins, Pappas, St. Martin, Gerald Massey, G.R.S. Mead, and many others. To some of these it is probable he was indebted. Others may have been indebted to him. Some of were actual members of the Order of the Golden Dawn, which he founded. Other sources of information are Fraser's Golden Brow, the works of Wallace Budge, the writings of Doctors Jung and Freud, the translations of Dr. Jovit from the Greek, the Sacred Books of the East series, from the Loeb Classics, the translation of Polonius by Stephen McKenna, the translation of the Zohar issued by Socino Press, and last but by no means the very least valuable source of information, the Holy Bible. So much for occult secrecy. It will be seen that the symbols assigned to each Sephira are classified in a regular order under certain headings. To understand the significance attached to these different sections by the occultist and the use he makes of them is necessary to explain the method of classification or detail. The title assigned to the Sephira is in section 1. Its name is first given in Hebrew and thus in English, and the Hebrew spelling appended. The accurate spelling of all proper names used in the Kabbalah is virtually important because of the numerical value attached to them by the Kabbalists and the use made of significance by the numbers by those who work with the numerological methods. I am neither a numerologist nor a mathematician, and I do not therefore propose or comment on that which lies out the sphere of my knowledge. I merely give the data for the convenience of those who appreciate its significance. Section 2. The magical image of the symbols associated with each Sephira. The magical image is the mental picture which the occultist builds up to represent the Sephira, and its details yield many significant symbols on meditation. These images are so old that they have been built up with such a wealth of magical working that they are apt to build themselves of their own accord during meditation upon the Sephira. In the course of my work on the Kabbalah, I saw most of them long before I had access to the tables that gave the impractical workings. The initiated adept builds the detailed symbolism and is very valuable magical exercise upon the practice of visualization of the magical images to their fullest detail. Much of this detail can be gleaned from the accounts I give in each Sephira, but readers who have specialized knowledge of the Eastern or classical pantheons, can elaborate these images to an extent surrounding them with all the paraphernalia of the gods assigned to each station on the tree. These can be identified through their astrological associations. Section 3. The situation on the tree. This throws an immense amount of light upon any meditation, for it reveals the equilibrium of the spiritual forces working in nature. For instance, Gabora, Mars, and Hesed, Gedula, Jupiter, are opposite of each other on the tree. The warrior king and the wise and benign lawgiver of peace balance each other, while Gabora, the unbalanced, becomes cruel and oppressive, and Gedula, when unbalanced, suffers evil to multiply. Section 9. The Yetzirah text. This consists of the description of the sphere or path given in the Sefer Yetzirah, or Book of Formations. The translation I have used is that of Wynne Westcott. These descriptions are exceedingly cryptic, but they will from time to time yield a flash of inspiration and undoubtedly contain the essence of Kabbalistic philosophy. Section 5. Descriptive titles. A catalog of the names have been applied to this particular Sephira in the rabbinical literature. These throw great light on the subject and are also useful for the student for purpose of reference when tracing on the ideas associated with a particular sephira. Section 6, the names of power assigned to each sephira. The god name represents the most spiritual form of the force and is conceived of as representing the functioning of that force. Of the force of the kingdom of BOTA, the highest as follows: the kingdom of the Kabbalists. The archangel names representing the function of a force of Bria, the kingdom of the higher mind, and the archetypal kingdom. The angelic choirs correspond to the kingdom of air in the astral plane and the mundane chakras. The mundane chakras, representatives of each force in the kingdom of Asaya, or the material plane. What I call in my table the spiritual experience assigned to each sephira is called by Crowley the magical power, wherein the terms may be rightly assigned to it. To the 22 paths, it is misleading when applied to the sephira. I have changed the name and term to the relation to the sephira themselves, but retained it in reference to the paths or region which they will presently be seen. Section 7 is the virtues and the vices assigned to each sephira of the tree. These indicate the qualities necessary in order to take the initiation of that grade and the form that is taken by any imbalanced force in the sphere. In the highest grade of all, before forms is developed, there is no correspondence. Section 8, correspondence in microcosm. The microcosm, which is man, corresponds to the sephiratic macrocosm, and is important from any practical standpoint, particularly that of the spiritual healing and astrology. Section 18 is the 4 suits of the tarot pack. The tarot cards of the tree opens up an immense amount of practical importance and forms of philosophical storehouse of divinatory art, and the reader keeps his explanations in mind will be able to follow the lines of reasoning and illusion developed. Elucidation of the symbols assigned to each sephira. Okay. And the last part, there we go. Okay, we'll just jump right into it here. So, those are all the things they talked about. They gave a little summary. So let's take a look at one of these today, and then we can we'll look at the others the next time. But now that you have a kind of point of reference, I know that was a little bit long, but okay. So what we have here says title, Kether the Crown. This is the very first one right here. This is the one we're talking about. It says the magical image that we get when we see this is the ancient bearded king seen in profile. Situation on the tree at the head of the pillar of equilibrium in the supernal triangle. So, this whole thing is called the supernal triangle. These three right here. Supernal triangle, pillar of equilibrium, and this image here. Each one of these is going to have an image. And these are images that when you meditate, that you'll notice will be there. Okay, this doesn't mean that this is the be-all, end-all image of God. It is just a particular image of this particular sephira. And this one here is the bearded king, the ones we see in profile. The Yetzirah text. Okay, remember there's the 4 worlds. Yetzirah is one of the worlds here. Atzula is one. So Yetzirah text, the first path is called the admirable or the hidden intelligence because it is the light-giving power of the comprehension of the first principle, which hath no beginning, and it is the primal glory because no created man can attain to its essence. Okay, so again, the first path, and even though this is sephira, remember we're using in this reference referring to this as a path. So the first path is called the admirable or the hidden intelligence because it is the light-giving power of the comprehension of the first principle that has no beginning. And it is this primal glory because it is created, because no created being can attain to its essence. In addition to Kether, it's called the existence of existence, concealed of the concealed, ancient of ancients, ancients of days, the primordial point, the point within the circle, the most high, the vast continent. God named Ahea, Archangel Metatron. Here we find the holy living creatures, the Kayot HaKodash. The mundane chakra is the Rashith Ha-Gilgam, or the premium mobile for swirlings. This will be the crown chakra, top of the head. Union with God is the experience. The virtue is attainment, completion of the great work. The vice, correspondence in the microcosm, the cranium, the Shah, the divine spark. Okay, and then colors in Achula, the lower world, brilliance, and Bria, white. So remember, we have the 4 different worlds: Achula, Bria, Yetzirah, Aseya. This is the lower world. So how it has different colors represents it. Alright. Let me just give you the first. Kether, the crown is placed in the head of the middle pillar of equilibrium, and form is depend backwards on the negative veils of existence. Okay, so there's a lot of information right here. I'm going to stop for today and leave this so you can reread through this and just relate it to this. Okay, just what we've learned thus far, and meditate on that. And you'll find that in your meditations, as you tap more into this, that you'll start to understand why all of these things are assigned to it. It's not some random reason, it's with purpose, because others have experienced these exact images and thoughts and so on. Alright? So there you go. Work on that. Just go that far. But it's a very, very powerful symbol to meditate on. And just take it little by little. There's no rushing necessary with the information, because for the most part the information's already inside of you. All you're doing is you're unlocking it. You're unlocking a door to allow you to remember what it is that you already know. Alright, let's move on. This is an article from In5D and Michelle Walling. Today's article is called How to Survive as a Multidimensional Being in a Limited Consciousness. That is a good article and a good question. Something we need to know. There's no handbook that explains how we are supposed to handle the phenomena that occurs when human beings on a planet begin to vibrate much differently from each other. On a deeper level, we know that we are all connected. Until a major tipping point occurs that we will shift into a more comfortable situation, how can we continue to live together on this planet without going insane or causing harm to one another? Because of the splitting of the vibration, my way or the highway seems to be the theme of 2014. It seems as if there has been a great energetic beam that has zapped some people, catapulting them from one direction, while other people drift the opposite way, while Mother Earth sits in the middle, nurturing both groups. I've been observing people playing musical chairs in order to settle back into vibration that feels most comfortable to them. It is becoming more and more obvious that not only are we being shown a choice of whether to ascend into another dimension or consciousness, or whether to continue to stay in the limited consciousness that most find themselves in, it is also becoming apparent that some people are going to take all the time they need to make that choice. Social forums like In5D, various chat rooms, and Facebook have become wonderful tools for sharing personal experiences with ascension into your eternal creative being. If you have ever participated in one of these platforms or have ever read the resulting comments, then I'm sure you will recognize some of the things I'm going to share with you. As a writer, chatter, and blogger, I have shared articles about my extraterrestrial persona as one who has traveled the universe to many other planets and solar systems in preparation for this lifetime. I've also shared deep articles about my spiritual persona who is trying to integrate and heal these lifetimes in order to make the new version of the online human being. I also feel there is part of me that sits in the center of the cosmos next to that being that created this whole experience, which I might call my angelic self. There are many other parts of me, thus I am all beings wrapped up into one. My observations are astounding as to the opposition and the comments of those who are questioning everything in a negative way, especially when it comes to other people's experiences. I'm going to use these examples to explain what kind of reaction I've had to them in order to share what I feel like is causing these reactions. Okay, we have a number of points here. She has here, let's see, dualistic programming that splits things into either or decisions. The ego reacts to another who is a way shower. Your experience can't be true because it isn't my experience. I'm an angel and I don't agree or vibrate with you, therefore you must be a dark being or influenced by a dark being. You are a new age religion fanatic or disinfo agent. Okay, and then let me bring to a conclusion here. And then you can read through all the rest. On a bigger scale, I am you, you are me, but at this moment we are all individual aspects of consciousness that have flown the coop to the densest part of the program and are having a unique human body experience. Such is the irony of the densest physicality in the third and fifth dimensions. This earthly experience presents some of the most challenging and rewarding experiences for spiritual growth anywhere in the cosmos. My main conclusion is that everyone should learn to be responsible for his or her own actions. Since thoughts are energy, creating negative thoughts adds negative energy to the human collective consciousness that Pierre Delchardin named the noosphere. By decreasing the amount of negative thoughts, the consciousness can be tipped into a positive majority. When this occurs, we will no longer have the extreme negativity in our reality. We will have risen above, away, within, or without it, however you choose to see it. The golden rule here, and as Cameron Day says, may be the one universal law that we could focus on integrating over all the others at this time. I've also learned how to share my experiences and subsequent observations without sounding like I am a teacher, and try to question everything without judging or negating others' experiences. And it says there may be one great big wheel that will eventually click and open up a new existence for those who choose it. Until then, realize that there are individualized for a reason, yet we are all connected in order to experience the great duality and the polarization of the created experience, and how we deal with it on an individual level reflects our understanding of those who are on a broader level. So it's a very good article. So I'm going to encourage you to read through it. This article, to one hand, speaks to the idea of acceptance and tolerance, because we are in this world together. There are 7 billion of us. We have many different ways we are going about getting to the same place, and because there are so many thoughts and there are the separations and everybody's in the I'm doing it myself sort of mindset, it does affect things. And the more that we can find a way to really be tolerant with each other as we all go through this process, the better off it's going to be, because we're all learning. Okay, here's our channeled message for today. It's from Jesus.
Jesus, oneness with God is an eternal state.
September 27, 2014, by John Smallman.
Jesus.
Things are moving along very nicely as the moment for your awakening approaches. Do not allow yourselves to be unduly and depressingly assailed by the gloom and doom of the mainstream media, because you know that what is occurring is a massive planet-wide clearance of negative energies, hate, rage, vengefulness, condemnation, and harsh judgment, which are rising into many people's conscious awareness and causing enormous emotional upheavals in large numbers of them at this time. You, the light bearers and way showers, are doing tremendously valuable and effective work in helping to clear and dissipate these energies as you hold the intent for love to penetrate every heart so that peace will be established in all areas of the world. The many ongoing international meditations for world peace are very powerful for 2 reasons. First, because the greater the percentage of humanity meditating with the intent that the tsunami of love enter every heart, the more powerful is the energy flow, and second, when you hold this intent and intend to join with all others who are holding similar intentions, you, too, are able to open your own hearts far more fully to receive the abundance of love that vigilantly awaits your invitation to suffuse you completely. We, those of us transmitting messages through the various open and dedicated channels, have been reminding you that love is always the answer to any problem, and you have embraced that truth. The results of that embrace are amazing because it has empowered you to intensify your efforts again and again as you pray, contemplate, intend, or meditate for world peace by holding the tsunami of love close to your hearts in every moment. That is the most powerful activity in which you can engage to bring you to the moment of your awakening. And it is doing just that. If you could see what we see, you would be stunned, because your tireless and enthusiastic exertions to bring all of humanity to the moment of its awakening are succeeding beyond your wildest imaginings. The energy field that each human expresses as a part of their divine nature has been horribly suppressed and restricted by the attitudes that pretty well every human culture has, over the eons, adopted and encouraged. You are all immensely powerful beings because that is how God, your loving Father, created you. However, when you chose to hide in the illusion to play your games of separation, you also chose to make the games more realistic by crushing and suppressing your innate God-given powers, and over the eons you forgot that you had them. It now seems to the vast majority of you that you are small and insignificant human beings, blessed or cursed. Your choice here, with an incredibly short life, a momentary sputtering into life that is almost immediately extinguished. Its time span is so short that it is immeasurable compared to the time that the visible universe has existed. You sought separation and smallness, and you have, in your own estimation, achieved that state, because it seems to you that it is a state that was given you almost accidentally as the universe evolved out of nothing, purely by chance. But the universe is part of the illusion that you built in which to play your insane and terrifying games, and when you demonstrate the inadequacy of the state of being human, in a vast and apparently infinite universe, by choosing to limit yourselves to that state, locking away out of sight and out of mind, your infinite and divine mind, the reality of who you truly are, you have a situation that is utterly intolerable. Therefore you hunker down and pretend to yourselves that the illusion is real, and attempt to live the illusion. You choose to believe that you are basically powerless and insignificant beings in an extremely hostile environment that will one way or another destroy you. You are indeed lost and confused. But you are only lost and confused in a momentary dream. A dream that you continue to extend and maintain because the fear that it has engendered in you seems very real. It is unreal. But so long as you believe in it, it will seem to have ultimate power over you. You are divine beings created by God to live in infinite joy. He gave you all of His powers because of His infinite love for you, and you in a moment of insanity, chose to separate yourselves from the wonder that He had created for you to experience littleness, insignificance, nothingness. Well, finally you have decided, collectively, to awaken from this nightmare and return to the home heaven, the divine presence from which you have never been separated, and from which you never ever could be separated. Oneness with God is an eternal state. You were created with free will, because love does not bind, hold, or restrict in any way. Consequently, when you chose to play your painful games, you were absolutely free to do so. Now you are remembering that they are just games, unreal situations that bring you pain and suffering, because to be separated from God would be painful. So thank yourselves for the fact that what you have built is unreal and inconsequential, an imaginary and totally impossible state of being or existence from which you have chosen to awaken. That awakening draws ever closer. Some on earth would maintain the illusion because in their insanity they believe that it gives them power, but their influence is dwindling as the majority have decided that it makes absolutely no sense at all to continue playing these intense and unloving games in which all suffer. You are on the home straight, your moment of awakening is close at hand. Do not allow yourselves to be caught up in the drama of the illusion with its wars, its judgments, its determination to punish wrongdoers, and its intent to claim restitution from them. In the illusion all are wrongdoers. In the illusion judgment is ever present, and judgment is what separates you one from another. Be honest and accept that you have chosen to take sides, nearly every one of you. Now let go of that need to belong to the right side. Move forwards in love and make the choice to share and extend that love to everyone without exception with whom you interact mentally, emotionally, or physically. After all, you are all, every single one of you, the beloved children of God. You are all part of God's divine family, so why would you fight one another, or judge one another? Can't you see that it makes absolutely no sense at all? God is love. The source of all that exists is love. The supreme intelligence, of which you are all essential and inseparable parts, is love. Embrace the reality that you are love, and only love, and awaken into the reality from which you have never departed. Your Father wills that you be ecstatically joyful, eternally. Why would you choose a different state of existence? You have suffered far too much already, so allow His love field, the divine energy field in which all that exists is eternally present, to embrace you once more, and return you to joy. Your loving brother, Jesus.
Alright, very good message from Jesus, reminding us what it is that we need to know, that this is an illusion, and we don't want to get caught up in the whole nonsense. So let's go ahead and close our eyes, do our meditation for today. Take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. I want you to imagine, first of all, that all of your chakras are activated. From the bottom of the spine up, red at the bottom of the spine, drawing the energy from the earth. Orange above that, right at the belly button. Yellow just below the rib cage in the solar plexus area. Green at the heart. Blue at the throat. Indigo at the third eye, and violet at the crown chakra. And the light continues on, connecting further yet with other chakras. 5 more. Deeper into the cosmos. 12 chakras in all, connected. Imagine yourself fully connected, and the energy surging through your body. And as you feel all of this energy, and you experience each chakra, you understand that each chakra allows you to see something a bit more, something different than the others. For each chakra vibrates to a different place. So when you go to the chakra of the third eye, you're able to see through the dimensions of space and time and look around you. And with your third eye, you can see the illusion. And as you look around, you realize that there is a great illusion being cast upon the world. Some are caught up in this illusion, and others are not. And as we understand more and more about the nature of this reality, the nature of this illusion, we become empowered to know that we are not subject to the rules of the illusion, but to the laws of God, to the laws of the universe. For the illusion is created by man, by the conscious mind. But God, the great creator, is not limited to the conscious mind, but exists in much larger and greater, limitless forms. And so as we look at life and we see through the illusion of life, we see things that are the illusions, we have compassion for those who are caught up playing the game of war and violence and separation. And we imagine sending love into the world that dissipates these energies of war and dissipates the energies of separation and of violence. And so we just keep sending in this love. Just keep sending in this love to keep changing what is going on. So now, just imagine your subconscious mind continuing to send out this love. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take one more deep breath. exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here yet again. I'll be back tomorrow. We will continue on. In the meantime, go back to the lessons from today, the Kabbalistic lessons, and just begin to study each one of the Sephirah. Just start with the first one, Kether, and just do the meditations upon it and get familiar with what that first Sephirah is all about. Just a little bit every day. You don't have to rush it. Don't have to rush it at all. That's it. Keep loving yourselves, my friends. I love you. We're going to make the world a better place because there's a lot of us out there sending out love. And all we have to do is keep doing it. And we'll just cruise right through this illusion and wake up all those who are still sleeping. I believe we can. I know you believe we can. That's all it takes. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.